All right, y'all made it here for another episode of The Money Exchange with Patrina Dixon. I am so excited. This was another year that I had the wonderful opportunity to tune in to Damon John's Black Entrepreneurship Day. And yet again, I was able to have one of the grant recipients be on the show, y'all. Y'all know my platform is all about highlighting Black businesses, those that are doing great with money, and then more importantly, Black girl magic. Woohoo! Yes, and with me today, when I heard her story, when I saw what she was doing and what she wanted to continue to do, I can understand why she was one of the grant recipients. I have with me today, Staci Childs. Hi, Staci.
Oh, well, hello, Miss Patrina. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I want them to feel what I felt when I heard you talking when you were awarded and just all the great work. So before we get directly into that, tell them a little bit about yourself and how you got started in what now is what it is, and we'll have you tell them what that is.
Absolutely. So again, Staci Childs here. I am a native of Atlanta, Georgia. So yes, Atlanta is playing. The Atlanta Black Braves are playing the Houston Astros today. And even though I'm in Houston right now, I am rooting for Atlanta. Judge your mama. And Atlanta is the city that raised me and made me the woman who I am. However, I have to credit Houston for molding me into being a grown-up and to growing me. I came to Houston 8 years ago. I was 25. I was fresh out of college, fresh out of grad school, and fresh out of having a series of heartbreaks in Atlanta. Getting arrested a couple of times for BS, all of which I could have avoided, was my fault. Bad relationships, that was during the time when we were trying to come from a recession as a country. So it was hard for me to find work, even though I was a double degree person. I couldn't find work. So I was getting to the point where I was like, look, I'm willing to do anything just to get money, which that should not be a place that any person should be in. You shouldn't be willing to do anything for money. And you know what? I had this opportunity to come to Houston to join an organization called Teach for America. I kind of had this idea of being a lawyer in the back of my mind, but I was like, look, I just need a job for now. I still want to make an impact. So I came to Houston. I started teaching in Sunnyside, Texas. Mm-hmm. And here we are 8 years later, with me no longer being a teacher, but me still wanting to make that big of an impact. I gravitated to Sunnyside, Texas, because it reminds me a lot of the neighborhood I'm from in Atlanta, which is called Adamsville, home a little scrappy, near where other rappers and stuff are from in Atlanta. And I love the people in Sunnyside. I think they're fun. They have a lot of culture. They have a lot of smarts, a lot of street smarts, but when it comes to their interactions with the legal system, a lot of times it's avoiding, like, oh, I don't want to go to court, or I don't want no problem, or I don't want to be involved with the laws. But sometimes you have to go to court to make sure your cases don't escalate, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have to have your day in court so you can get custody of your child, so you can get some access to your child. But a lot of the people in Sunnyside, not just Sunnyside, but just in Houston in general, don't know the law. They don't understand that the law can work for them, just like how I was, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, I need to give back to this community that gave so much to me. I need to teach the people here about the law, but also just give them access to good legal representation so they won't mess up their situations more than they may already be messed up. So.
Well, I love that. And I love how you talk about the going from Atlanta to Houston, Texas, and then talk about the things that you had to overcome, right? And the other thing you did was admit, I'm not blaming anybody. I made those mistakes, right? Which I love. And that brings us into, like, people, you can make mistakes and still get over that, be victorious of that, and then go on to live wonderful lives and do whatever it is that you want to do. Right. Like, most of us have great stories because of what we have come through. I don't want to say get to, we've come through, so that, and then our stories become like how we can help somebody else. So I love that you right out the top, out the bat, acknowledge that. So thank you for that. So, so then now you're in Houston, and wait, before we get to, wait, is this before Houston? So I have here that you worked at the White House, staffer at the White House. So was that while you're in Houston? Like,
that's one hell of a glow up, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, wait, Atlanta, Houston, White House, where is that in? How you fit that in?
So I was a teacher for a few years, and I decided to make the transition to law school. So in my second year of law school, I took off some time because that was the same year that President Barack Obama was ending his last term of office. And they offered me a staffing position, an unpaid staffing position, but hey, it is what it is. I was like, I need to take this opportunity. So I took a semester off of school to work under the Obama administration during my second year of law school, which is 2016. And in my mind, I wasn't going back. In my mind, I was gonna work for, I guess, the Clinton administration or some Democratic administration, but you know, President Trump or Donald Trump was elected president back then, and we all had to go. So I came back to Houston, and I'm glad I came back to Houston because I was able to continue to build my roots here and finish out school.
Awesome. And then I'm envious because you met my one of my idols, which is Michelle Obama. Like, what my day is gonna happen. I am gonna meet her. I see that you have that there. So that's a little, you know,
it has to happen.
I want that moment to happen. I so adore her. So I see here that you met her as well. So now you took the semester off. You were in DC, then you ended up back in Houston, and now you are a full-time entrepreneur, got your own law firm, and woo! And what I love is that you decided to have your law firm be help for families, right? Not just of adults, of families. So including family into that. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, how did you bring those two together?
Very good question. So my primary areas of practice are family law and criminal defense. In law school, if you would have said that I was going to be a criminal defense attorney, I would have slapped you. I'm like, no, I'm not going to have anybody mad at me because I couldn't get them a good plea deal. I couldn't get their cases. Absolutely not. You're not coming after me. No, sir. No, ma'am. But I realized that, you know, criminal defense work is more than just getting off guilty people. Some people just end up in bad situations, or some people just make small mistakes and they need you to advocate for them so their records won't be messed up for the rest of their lives. So that's kind of how I gravitated to criminal defense. And then I realized, depending on what type of criminal charge you have, that'll affect your marriage. That'll affect your custody of your kids. That'll affect if you can see them or not. Guess what? That'll affect if you pay child support or not. So I'm like, it's hard to do one without the other. Okay. You know, people need help from every way. So
and then the other thing probably too is when people talk about going through stuff, right? They're not even thinking about that multi-prong impact, right? Because they're dealing with whatever they have in front of them that they've secured your resources, your expertise for. So, so then you decide to bring those two together. And then, so how has that been for you in Houston and the families in Houston? So talk about like the folks that end up working, or you what do I want to call, not supporting, that's not the right term. Talk about the clients that you represent that make up this body that you're talking about.
Oh yeah. I'll give you a great example of a guy, we'll call him John. John is about 22, very young. He's been on probation for the past few years for a charge that landed him on a sex offender list. And it landed him in a position where he wasn't able to be around any children, including if he ever had kids. He couldn't be around his own kids, right?
Wow.
Because when you have these probation orders, they say you are not to be around any children. It's just one sentence. And it's like, what about my own kids? It doesn't say you can be around your own kids. So you can't even be around your own kids because in the eyes of the law or in the eyes of this paper, you're a threat to children. But this guy is not a threat to anybody's child. He's just not, you know, and I know when you hear the word sex offender, you hear the word criminal, you may associate danger with that, but I've worked with this client. He's a great person. He's changed his life. He's working. He's on track. He's a family-oriented man. So I advocated for him to get that restriction released so that he could be around at least his child. Yeah. Now, all the other kids, you need to stay away from them still, right? You can't be around your cousins and all that. But as to your child, yes, you can build a relationship with your child. Luckily, the judge granted that. But now he has to try to get custody of his child, right? Mm-hmm. Just because he can be around him doesn't mean that mom is going to let the child see him. So now he has to kind of fight on the family court side to get custody of the child now.
Wow, that's amazing. And you know what? It's little things like that. Again, I think when you're going through, you're just trying to get through that one thing. You're not thinking about like that sentence, right? Like that seems like that should be, I don't know. Like, I don't want to have to like, debate.
You would think that it's like, well, that doesn't mean my kids.
Yeah. Like, it's like, okay, it's great you did it for him, but does that apply to others? Like that's a whole nother topic. We won't go down that lane. But, so, and is it just you and the Sunnyside? And tell them what it is. Sunnyside Legal, it's called, right?
Sunnyside Legal, yes.
Sunnyside Legal. Is it just you, or are there other attorneys that you have in your firm?
So right now, I'm the only attorney. We have an attorney that's awaiting her bar results. Mm-hmm. So she's acting in the capacity of a paralegal because she hasn't received her bar results yet. But it's just me. I have 3 interns, 2 paralegals, and a research assistant. Okay. And an accountant. So it's a staff of 8, but I'm the only attorney.
Okay. And are you guys in an office or you're virtual?
I'm in an office right now, but the staff, we kind of do a hybrid of working remotely and in person because, to be honest, I wish I could like pan so you can see everything. It's a nice space, but it's small. Okay. All of us wouldn't fit in here.
So now, I started this off with, I met you at Black Entrepreneurship Day. You, as well as, I forget how many there were, maybe there were 5 other, whichever, there were some other folks that were also awarded this wonderful grant. And which company actually sponsored yours? Because I know there were different companies. Which one? Oh, Salesforce. Well, various different companies put up $25,000 for each of you to receive, and Salesforce happened to be the one for yours. It's a wonderful event that Damon John puts on. Get on his mailing list, guys, follow him, whatever, so that you'll be invited to this every year and have the opportunity to do what Staci did and send in a video, talk about what you're doing and what you would like to do, and maybe you can be a recipient. So,
I gotta say something before you get to that. Can I just say something about that?
Yeah.
To your viewers and your listeners. I clicked submit at 10:59 p.m. and the application was due at 10:59 p.m. And I thought that applying for this was a shot in the dark. But I'm like, you know what? Just do it. Yeah. And I tried my best to get it done by the deadline. I submitted it right at the deadline. Look at where we are now. So I just wanted to say that to the people. Join the mailing list, like she said, and apply when the time comes, because
so true. And that holds true for any grant opportunities as well. But let's talk about your submission. What do you think you said? Is it what part of the work that you're doing that I'm sure I guess it's a bunch of people, maybe there weren't a lot, I don't know. But of all the people that submitted, what did you think you had to bring out or had to say in your submission in order to be not just a viable candidate for them to, mull over, but actually chosen? What do you think that was? What was your thought process going into doing it?
I guess I'm still trying to figure that out. I think about that every day. But if I had to guess, there was a question on the application that said, what are you doing for your clients or your customers through COVID, or what have you changed due to COVID, or what makes you different due to COVID, something like that. And me and a couple of my other friends, which is another lesson, people can help you. A couple of my other friends, we just sat there. And I'm like, well, what makes me different? It's a million law firms, right? And they were like, well, Staci, you're not hiring another attorney or full-time staff because of the money. So you're hiring interns. You're not charging what you could really charge for these cases dealing with custody and stuff, because you realize that people are broke. People don't have money because of COVID and just because it's hard times. So I'm like, you know what? People are broke, including me. I know how that feels. I'm in that struggle. So instead of using this flowery language to try to sugarcoat something. I'm like, people are broke. People don't have a lot of money. I understand that. I'm having to cut costs with my own business. This is how we're cutting the costs. This is why we need money. So I think the transparency really resonated.
Wow, that's amazing. You know that, and I love how you're speaking to the audience, because I think sometimes people, one, don't apply because they don't think, it's not going to happen. It's for everybody else. But then also being completely transparent, like the authenticity of this is why you do it, and not try to use the buzzwords or whatever the words are. Use the real words that people could understand as to why you're doing it. And because it also connects to it, that to me, the way that you say you responded, it connects to who you're serving as well. Let me just tell you about the people I'm serving, and just be real about who that is. So now let's get to it, because one of the things you wanted to talk about was confidence and money. So given what you just said, I'll build off of that, is I'm working with people that don't have money, but I know they need the service. I have this expertise that can help them in these situations. But you also have to have business to run. You have probably a household or whatever. So how have you, if you don't mind sharing, being able to bridge the two, where because there's a lot of people included within my business where I'm in business, right? I can't do what I'm doing for free, not for everybody, and still maintain a business and those that support my business, the various different support staff that I have. How do you bridge the gap between the two with your desire to help, but to keep the doors open, so to speak?
Yeah, that's a good question. Firstly, while my love and my allegiance is to the people in Sunnyside and nearby, I don't discriminate with my clients. I don't care about your color or your bank account or anything like that. If you want my services, I think I'm a damn good attorney. I can help you. So if you have the money up front, I'm going to accept it and I'm going to advocate for you. And I also, what I've learned in this short time of practicing is that I'm not going to apologize about my pricing anymore. When I first started practicing, I used to be like, well, I mean, the reason why is this much. And I mean, maybe you could give me a little less. No. Yeah. This is how much it costs. This is the value in what you're going to get. Yes. You need to see the value too. Yes. And I only reserve pro bono, at least I try to, only reserve pro bono or significantly reduced legal services for people where it's like, look, I'm going to lose my child tomorrow. I got $100. Can you help me? You know, if it's that dire of a situation, then of course I'll help in those situations, but I don't apologize about my price. I don't discriminate on who I accept. If you have the money to pay it, I'll take it. And I think once I started realizing my value, it made the clients realize the value, like, you're right, let me go ahead and pay it.
Exactly right. Exactly. And I think that holds true across the board in any type of business. I think oftentimes, and I think also with the pandemic, it came, okay, for those that even was, very firm in their pricing, when the pandemic came, and maybe if you had in-person services that then were virtual, you thought, I should charge less because I'm not going in person. But the service, you still getting the same service. Just the way I'm delivering it, or the channel for which you're seeing me is different, but what I'm bringing you is the same. So I like that you said that as well. So now you taught for a while. I still feel like your teaching is within what you're doing as an attorney. Is that all? Is that by design? Yep.
Yes. Yeah, because I think we everybody on the staff feels very passionate about the fact that we can prevent a lot of these things that happen before they happen, as long as you have the knowledge. So once or twice a month, we're putting on these functions to kind of educate the masses on the various case types and the various issues we see in the legal system so they can avoid them.
Yeah, I love that. And do you within, and I don't know if this is something that is permissible or not, but do you stay in contact with your clients after you finish dealing with their situation for that same reason? Okay, you got this, I got you out of this, and I don't want you to end up in that again. Like, is there some sort of connection?
They keep calling me. They still call me.
For your services, for your services.
Start back charging you. Stop calling me. No, I keep in contact with them.
You do. So now I have to ask you this question. This is totally, I want to ask it. So I watch a lot of shows, like I'll call it like Law and Order and things of that nature. Do you as well? I guess I'll start with that. Do you watch those type of shows?
Surprisingly, no.
No, okay.
I do not. So when I finished taking the bar exam in 2018, I binge watched Suits like with Harvey Specter, and that was pretty good. But other than that, I don't like law shows, and everybody around me loves them, and I'm like, well, okay, I hate them.
Well, I was going to ask you because oh my gosh, I'm an avid watcher of Law and Order, especially SVU. And I wanted to find out like how close to reality are they? And that's what I was going to ask, but I guess I can't ask you that.
I've seen some, and I don't know if other lawyers would agree with me, but sometimes you'll hear certain words or phrases and you're like, yeah, that checks out. But all in all, it's not really that close. You'll just hear things here and there that check out, but it's not that close.
Okay. Me. Oh man, you just squashed my dreams. I thought with watching it so much, I was like, I could do like, you know. No, but I love it. So now if you, as folks are watching this, you know, I had you come on because I love what you were doing. And I know you and I talked, you have aspirations for this to grow outside of Sunnyside. I don't know what the name would be. Will it still be Sunnyside if it wants to leave Sunnyside? Will you like it?
We're gonna provide bright and sunny days.
Everywhere. All right, love it. So as you think about that, the fact that you know, you have Sunnyside now, you're a full-time entrepreneur, you have brought criminal and family law together, you've now been awarded this. What do you think in the next few years, if folks are listening, how that think, wow, I was thinking of doing the same, now I hear somebody doing it? What sort of advice would you give them listening to you? And not just so much the award, just taking the plunge. They may have made mistakes, but listening to and watching you here today, that they can do it too. What would you say to them to empower that thought in them?
The worst that can happen is somebody will tell you no. And I mean, we've all been told no before, so no shouldn't hurt that bad. You know, I think a lot of people, including myself, sometimes we stifle ourselves or slide ourselves from opportunity because we're so afraid of rejection. But we've all been rejected before. I mean, I'm not saying that we want to keep getting rejected so many times, but you know how it feels. Yeah. So just go forth anyway. Yeah. And one thing that, and I have this tattoo here, it says 33, because I actually had a full-time job, but last year due to COVID, I was laid off. So at 33, I was like, you know what? Enough is enough. Enough is enough. I have bet on everybody else, and I bet on everything else, and I put so much positive energy on everybody else. Why can't I bet on myself? Yeah. So that was a reminder to me that I'm like, okay, this is the time I'm going to bet on myself. That is my advice to everyone. Just bet on yourself. The worst that can happen is that, you know, you may lose a little money or it may not work out. So you may have to go back and get a job. Okay. Exactly. What's so bad about that? Bet on yourself.
Exactly. And then, so now let's talk about the money piece. So I didn't realize that. So you were laid off and then you went into this full force. How did you prepare financially for that? Because now you're without a job and then you're like, I'm not even going that route anymore. I'm just doing it all, going, like you said, betting on myself. How did you prepare you got a staff, you have an office. How did you do that from a money perspective?
Yeah, so I'm an attorney, I'm not an accountant. So I will admit that I might be using your services, Ms. Dixon, because my Achilles heel, seriously, no, my Achilles heel is like the financial piece. I would say that everybody knows what they need in terms of staff and what they need to live, how many months you can survive with your rent and all that. So once you make those calculations, if you can stay in your job or stay in your financial situation to stack that amount of money you need for that time, once you get to that point, just try it. Yeah. For me, it was a little different. And I've seen this on movies before, and this is probably not the best advice, but for me, it was like, I know how much it costs for me to live. So that's how much money I have to make. Yeah. And I have to keep making above that amount of money so that I can not furnish my lifestyle necessarily, but make this business work. Yeah. So my situation kind of came out of necessity. But if people have the time and the resources to put away a little money so that they can bet on themselves and create a plan so that they can step out on faith, I would definitely suggest that. It's a much better feeling than putting all your eggs into someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, you know what, that advice, I wish I could say to you it's unique, but that everybody that isn't a full-time entrepreneur, that's what they're saying. Like they finally said to themselves, they need to make that leap, invest in themselves, and worst case scenario, go back and work.
Just go back. Yeah. And I mean, who knows? I still, like you said, you notice that I still like teaching. I might go teach college one day, part-time or something. Who knows? You might hire me to be a correspondent on your show or something.
Yeah.
But it's been a really, really good feeling. It's kind of indescribable, actually. Yeah. Like today, when I walked in here this morning, I was like, man, I'm actually excited to sit at the computer and do work.
But you're at your computer in your office doing work for your client. That's a whole different feeling. Yeah.
And I don't mean to talk a lot, but let me just say this one other.
This is a show so people can hear. This is about hearing the story, girl. Go ahead.
This is the first time, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs may feel like this. This is the first time where I feel like I can bring my full self to work. You know, when I was a teacher, it was like, okay, this is my box. When I worked for the Attorney General's office, it was like, okay, this is my box. But now it's like, I can do whatever I want to do, right? So whenever I've divorced a client, right, I'll try to send them a bottle of champagne, or I'll try to send them a gift in the mail. I don't tell them, they just get it in the mail. Yeah. I didn't have the autonomy to do that in other spaces. It would have been maybe a conflict of interest, or it was inappropriate, or I wasn't close to the people I was working with. But now I can do that. I just found out one of my clients is having a baby. So yeah, I'm going to send them some baby stuff to their house. Yeah. So, you know, that thoughtful side of me can come out. But yeah, I'm also their attorney, but part of me feels like your attorney should be like your extended family. Yeah. So I'm able to have and show my full self in this space of being an entrepreneur, which I really enjoy and love.
That is awesome. And then you I don't know if you notice how you keep dropping tips. That extra thing that you're doing for your clients is how you have, well, in your business, I don't know if repeat clients is a good thing, but referrals, because they will share the service, what you did for them from the service perspective, but then the customer service, which is the other piece you're talking about. I love that. I love that so much. You've been a joy to have on the show. Before we go, because I know folks in Sunnyside going to want to know how to get you, and then people that are not in Sunnyside but just may thinking maybe we need a little sun dropped where we are. How can they find Miss Staci Childs and everything that you're doing there?
Yes, you can find us on every single platform at Sunnyside Legal. And if you want to follow me personally, you can follow me at Attorney Staci with an I. But yeah, sunnysidelegal.com, on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Sunnyside Legal everywhere. Attorney Staci with an I everywhere. That's how you find us. Drop us a comment or a message or a like. We love that.
Love that. And for those of you that are either listening or watching this, all of her information will be in the show notes. So make sure those of you looking at me, make sure you drop down in the show notes and check her out there. And also if you're watching and you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. And then if you're listening and you enjoy this, leave us a comment and let you know. Both Staci and I will look at it and then let us know what you think about our episode, as well as sharing it with others. So you heard it here. You saw Miss Staci Childs. You heard her talk about Sunnyside Legal. She is one of the Black Entrepreneurship Day Award recipients. Please know that it's possible. Everything that you heard from her and what she is doing, all of her accomplishments, you can do it too. Go for your dreams, bet on yourself. And I didn't say this in the beginning. I can't believe I didn't do it. If you're first time watching here, I am Patrina Dixon. I am the It's My Money Lady. That is my trademark brand. And I help people level up their lives by managing their money. So make sure you also check out my stuff that will be down below as well. Thanks again for tuning in to It's My Money with Patrina Dixon and the Money Exchange.
Yes, that was good.
Okay, hold on.